There is a particular kind of person who spends the entire day in control. The one the room turns to when the decision finally has to be made. The surgeon. The executive. The person who cannot afford to be uncertain in front of anyone. And a surprising number of them, when the work is done and the door is closed, want exactly one thing: to be told what to do. That sounds like a contradiction. It isn't. It's one of the most misunderstood things about human desire. And once you see how it actually works, you'll never read the word submission the same way again. Let's start with the pattern, because it's real, and it's well documented by the people who do this work professionally. The clients who most reliably seek out submission are not the meek. They're often the opposite. High responsibility, high status, high control lives. Leaders, founders, people who hold other people's outcomes in their hands all day long. The pop culture version of this is a punchline. The powerful person who wants to be bossed around. But the punchline hides something genuinely interesting. Why would the people with the most control be the ones most drawn to giving it up? To answer that, we have to stop thinking of submission as the absence of power. It isn't. It's a specific, deliberate relationship with power, and it does something for the mind that almost nothing else can. In the late 1980s, the psychologist Roy Baumeister proposed an idea he called escape from the self. His argument, briefly, was this: being a modern individual is effortful. You are expected to be the author of your own life, to choose, to perform, to maintain an identity, to be esteemed, to be responsible. Most of the time, we want that, but it is a load, and the higher you climb, the heavier it gets. Baumeister suggests that some of what looks like masochism is really a set of techniques for putting that load down, when attention narrows to the immediate and the physical, a sensation, an instruction, a single task you've been given. The elaborate self-monitoring, always managing sense of self goes quiet. You stop being the one who has to decide. You simply respond. If that sounds familiar, it should. It's a close cousin to what people chase in meditation, in hard exercise, in deep flow at work. A temporary vacation from being in charge of yourself. For someone whose entire day is decisions, that vacation isn't indulgent. It's restorative. Submission for them is not weakness. It's the off switch they can't find anywhere else. Before we go further, because the next part is where most people get it wrong. A quick word, and then the piece nobody explains properly. Here's the part that overturns the whole cliché. In a well-run dynamic, the person who submits is not the powerless one. They are, quietly, the one who sets the terms. Every serious power exchange rests on things the submissive controls, the limits negotiated in advance. The safe word, which can stop everything in a single syllable. The consent, which is ongoing and revocable. The dominant operates inside a frame the submissive built. Take the frame away, and you don't have dominance. You have harm, which is a completely different thing, and not what any of this is about. So, submission is an act, an active one. It's a thing you do, not a thing that's done to you. You choose the person. You choose the boundaries. And then, inside those walls, you allow yourself the rare experience of not having to hold the whole world up for a while. There's an old phrase in this world. The submissive is the one with all the power, and the dominant is the one entrusted with it. Read that twice. It reframes everything. If submission is active, then it can be done well, or done badly, which means it can be learned. And this is the part that surprises people new to it. Good submission takes real skill, the ability to communicate a limit clearly instead of enduring in silence, the self-knowledge to say what you actually want, the presence to stay in your body instead of drifting off into your head, the trust, earned, not assumed, to let another person hold the frame. None of that is passive. All of it is teachable. The same is true, by the way, of the other side of the dynamic. But that's a subject for its own episode. Now the objection. Surely people who want this are, in some way, damaged? Working something out? For most of the last century, that was the assumption baked right into the textbooks. The research doesn't support it. In 2013, 2 researchers at Tilburg University in the Netherlands ran one of the larger studies of its kind. more than 900 practitioners, compared against a control group, measured on personality, attachment, and well-being. The practitioners, on average, came out less neurotic, more extroverted, more open to experience, more conscientious, less sensitive to rejection, and they reported higher subjective well-being. The author's own conclusion was that this looks less like pathology and more like, their words, a recreational leisure. One honest footnote. The most favorable scores in that study belong to the dominants, with submissives in between, and the control group last. So I won't oversell it as submission makes you happy. What the evidence does puncture is the lazy old story that people drawn to this are broken. On the numbers, they're doing just fine, often better than the people judging them. So here's where it lands. Submission isn't the failure of power. It's a sophisticated, deliberate, trusting relationship with it. It's the ability to build a safe room with someone worthy of it, and, inside that room, to set down a weight you carry everywhere else. You don't have to be a surgeon or a CEO for that to mean something. Almost everyone is holding more than they let on. The people drawn to this have simply found a structured, consensual, unusually honest way to put it down for a while, and to be met while they do. That's the psychology. It's the map, what it looks like in practice. The actual language, the structures, the protocols, is the terrain, and that's what we make. The Domme Codex builds written instruments for exactly this. The tasks, the lines, the scenes that turn understanding into practice. If the ideas in this video resonated, the catalog is linked below, and there's a free primer waiting for you there too, if you want the other half of this equation, the psychology of dominance, and why it's a skill and not a personality. Subscribe, because that one is next. I'm Artemis Sinclair. Consider this an instrument. Use it well.